Policy and Rights here at Depictions Media Radio. I'm your host, Michael Clogs. So, over the weekend, as many of you know, that our team does speaking engagements on human rights and social justice. And over the weekend, we were able to do a talk on a social justice talk and human rights talk on pinkwashing and sexual orientation and gender identity. As the policy, anti-bullying policy has been written by the British Columbia government. Well, okay, so great. British Columbia has a policy out there that says that gender identity and sexual orientation will be recognized, and that there, as part of that policy, that there should be no bullying about it. And it is introduced at all levels of government, from school systems to actual provincial working offices. Okay, so here's the problem in the school systems, though. The school systems operate by way of curriculum. So, on one hand, you have one group of people that say, hey, you're trying to indoctrinate my children and turn them into something that they are not. You're trying to force them to be gay. Not necessarily true, but can be interpreted that way because they put no claimers or anything like that to the policy itself. So you have one group of people that, and some of the extremists out of that group, they want to burn books. They want to have teachers fired. They are marching that you are trying to indoctrinate our children into being something that they are not, that you are trying to change our children and force them into a tunnel that they do not belong. Which, okay, set aside the extremists, the book burners and all. As a parent, I understand. I wouldn't want my government dictating to my children what their gender identity should be or their sexual orientation. No, I would not want that. I wouldn't want a teacher standing there saying, oh, Joey, because you're wearing pink, that you have to be identifying as a trans person. Or Julie, you're wearing brown and blue, you have to be identifying as a trans person, and then try to guide them down a path towards surgeries, medications, all that sort of stuff. No, I wouldn't want that either. Not as a parent. That should be left to be within our families. Okay. Then you have the other side of the coin saying that, well, they aren't doing enough because parents are the bad guys. That children are afraid to come out in front of their parents because of the ridicule and the shaming that is going to go along with it. Very valid point also. I understand where they're going with that. That there are families out there that still believe in reprogramming and all sorts of other really weird stuff that they do to torture the gayness out of a person to make them go straight. Okay. So here it is in a nutshell, and this is what we had discussed in our talk after showing our film Mutaz cartoon a gender fluid queer Muslim. That one, school counselors and teachers, while they say that it is great that the province has put forth a policy and they posted it on their website. It's really great. This is totally awesome. It means that the province is taking a stance to eliminate the bullies from the crowd. Okay, where are the resources? Where are the resources to help counselors and teachers in the school systems to deal with the bullying, to the guidelines to deal with that? Where are the resources for parents who have a gender fluid or gay child so that they can deal with those things in a loving way? Where are those resources? Where, how did the province set this up? They're making a statement, but there's nothing behind the statement. It's just a statement. And that's where the problem actually lies. The reason why you have one extreme saying, hey, don't indoctrinate my children, and the other one saying that parents are being bullies and trying to torture the gayness out of their children. Well, that's why we have that. So the two sides of the same issue, and the the real problem with the issue is that the government didn't provide resources to the parents and hasn't provided resources for the teachers and the counselors in the schools, all of which want to protect the children. They want to make sure that our children grow up happy, well adjusted, and able to express themselves. That is the common thread between both sides. That is what they want for the children. Now, how do we make that happen is another question. So, along with that, of course, Pride has always been a political protest trying to get rights for same-sex relationships, for to for equality in a job place, for transgender people, and allow freedom of expression of who we are as we just generally walk down the street. And with that being a political protest, there's a lot that goes along with that. So we know that, and we're not going to play this in this particular podcast, what Mark Carney had to say while he was at the Vancouver Pride, but who we will actually have from the Liberal Party is Ernie Clausen, and he is the MP of where this particular radio station sits for White Rock, South Surrey, British Columbia, as he makes some statements about support and government support for those who are being marginalized because they are in same-sex relationships or have a non-binary identity. We are also going to hear from the mayor of Langley, Langley City, British Columbia, as he is in a same-sex relationship, and he was given the honor of raising the pride flag for the Langley Pride event and over Langley for the month of August. Okay, so we're going to hear that. And we're going to hear bits and pieces about what those two have to say. We're also going to hear from the Senior Resource Director in Langley, British Columbia, as she talks about some of the issues that go along with being elderly and being gay, and how there are other issues that go along with that, such as being left alone, finding themselves in a lonely place, that sort of thing. And as a senior, because, well, you didn't follow the traditional relationship boundaries. You didn't follow the traditional binary way of living, male, female, that you went non-binary, and now you're left alone in your elder years. So why don't we get started, and let's hear from each of the three people as they talk about Langley and pride in Langley.
And Langley Pride have done together here. Last Sunday, I was honored to be walking next to our Prime Minister in the Vancouver Pride Parade, and he mentioned to a number of people that he is an ally of the LGBTQ2 plus community. So I'm proud to be part of the party that believes in inclusivity and believes that every single person in Canada is an equal. And so I'm just so honored and proud to be here. And I just want to also say that I am the co-chair of the National Pride Caucus in Ottawa. And so I belong to a group that, unfortunately, at this point, there's only members that sit on my side of the floor that are part of it, even though there's members that should join our group, but together with one of the senators, Senator Christopher Wells of Alberta, ironically, we co-chair the National Pride Caucus, and we intend to let Canadians know that we are there and we represent the LGBTQ2 plus community and everybody who identifies as either an ally or a supporter of our group. So thank you so much, and again, happy Pride.
We're also very pleased to have the City of Langley Mayor Nathan Pahal here with us to help raise our flags. Mayor?
Thank you very much. I have to say, there's a connection to Langley because I ordered flowers for my husband, and I think your husband showed up at our door. So the connection right there. He owns a flower shop, by the way. That's the context. I should have started with that he owns a flower shop. So. But I am proud to be here on behalf of Langley City Council, and I know our council, every single member of council has been very supportive of the 2S LGBTQIA plus community. I'm just going to say gay and queer from now on because that is a lot of letters and numbers, but I know that people have different labels and it's very important. But, you know, we did our first flag raising, and we actually had to defend that right at the BC Human Rights Tribunal because someone thought that was an inappropriate thing to do. But we did win, and now communities in BC can do that. And that's because it's council as a whole, so I just wanted to give them a lot of credit there. But I've really been thinking about this season. So there's two things that come to mind. I was actually at a Pride dinner last weekend, and someone said, hey, this is like our gay Christmas. And to me, it's actually like gay Thanksgiving. And I've really been thinking about, you know, Pride as a protest. That's really been top of mind, and I'm sure for a lot of queer people it has been. And I wanted to share some of the things that I'm thankful for, and it's from our elders, or my elders at least. So there were people that said, you know, enough is enough in the 1970s, and they got like gayness removed as a mental disorder. So that was a huge thing. There were folks that, you know, there was a lot of raids and places where queer people went, whether it was bars or bathhouses and stuff like that. And they said, you know, enough is enough. We deserve to be here. And then they decriminalized homosexuality. And they said, hey, you know what? These people are actual human beings. And then we step ahead further where people fought for the rights for us to get married and have spousal benefits. And I was lucky to benefit from that. So when I got married, I didn't have to worry about all of these things that, my elders did and fought for us. So I think those people deserve a round of applause here today because they fought. And one of the things that is really powerful is just by showing up here, by putting that rainbow flag up, is a protest in a way, because we're still trying to be erased, even in 2025, which is really shocking. And you see that in other communities and in other places of Canada. So I think it's really, really important that we're here today raising the rainbow flag, saying, hey, we're here and we're queer. I've said that a lot in the last few days because that's really, really important. And we celebrate who we are. And, Langley City and the township are really great places. They embrace mostly to us LGBTQIA plus people. So again, very happy Pride, happy Silver Pride, happy Pride for Langley. We have a Pride Society. So a round of applause for all the hardworking actors in that. And you know what? Have a lot of fun and be super queer today.
If I flex my arms and I could hold you like a man, do you think a man could ever hold you like I'm a king? Come in my arms, I'll take the love, I'll take it in my lips, my tongue, I'll breathe it, keep it in my lungs. And I can't get enough. I'll call it that, call it mom, call it love. If I don't go with it, I'll be worried. If I don't go with it, I'll be feeling everything. I miss you, baby. Got me Here's a man, will you take me home? I'll ask right now. You can take the lead, I'll give you anything you want. I'll do it like me. I'll see. I'll tell you what. I'll get my down, keep it in my lungs. And baby, I'll bring you down. Somebody bring me with the right way.